Welcome into the NJCAA network. It is March, and in the words of John Rothstein, we sleep in May. Basketball tournaments going on all over. We already have the regional and district tournaments complete for our Division III Men's Basketball National Championship. We announced the selection and seeds today for the 4 at-large bids, as well as those 8 district champions. I'm Zach McKinstry. Thanks for tuning in today, and congratulations to the 8 teams that have already cemented their spot. Excited to announce those other 4 teams that make their way into this tournament in Herkimer, New York at the Varsity Gymnasium next Wednesday, March 13th through the 16th. Let's go ahead and look at that empty bracket as a whole and how this tournament will shake out. It's 4 teams. The top 4 teams get a bye. The first round bye for 1 through 4 starts on March 14th, and the other 8 teams will start on March 13th, with the 8 playing the 9, 5 playing the 12, 7 and 10, and 6 and 11, all to be announced later in this show. But let's start today with those 4 top teams who get that first round bye. The number 1 overall team in this tournament is Dallas College Northlake and the Blazers. It's the 3rd straight tournament appearance for Josh Mills and the Blazers, who used a big second half to take down Richland in the South Central District Championship. Northlake is another team that can shoot the lights out. As a team, they average 41% behind the arc, and they lead the country in free throw percentage, shooting 78% from the line as a team. Congratulations to the Blazers, who get the number 1 seed. Joining them as a number 2 seed will be Northern Essex, back-to-back Region 21 and East District champions, the first team in 20 years to accomplish that feat. Led by Luis Reynoso, who was an NJCAA first-team All-American last year, and he's closing in on potential NJCAA Division III Player of the Year honors this year, pouring in 27 points and 16 rebounds in the title-clinching game. The number 3 seed in this tournament and another first-round bye will be the hosts, Herkimer. It's been a magical season for the Generals as Matt Lee has brought his squad back to the national tournament for the first time since winning it back in 2019. This is a talented team from top to bottom, with 4 players averaging 12 or more points a game, and they're really good at getting to the line, taking and making the 3rd most free throws in Division III. The final bye and 4th seed in this Division III national tournament is Montgomery County. Since getting beat at the buzzer by Northampton in December, the Mustangs have rattled off 17 wins in a row, and none sweeter than a rematch against rival Brookdale in the Region 19 title, where Kristen Alfie and 1 bucket with 4 seconds left stunned the then number 1 ranked Jersey Blues. So Montgomery County at 27-1 gets the number 4 overall seed, and this is how the tournament will look with those top 4 seeds. Dallas College Northlake the 1, the 2 is Northern Essex, 3 is Herkimer, and Montgomery County the 4. Those are the top 4 seeds, and before we reveal the rest of the bracket, let's go ahead and talk to the head coach of that number 1 overall seed, Josh Mills of Dallas College Northlake. We now welcome on a very special guest. It's the head coach of the Dallas College Northlake Blazers, Josh Mills. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you taking the time today.
Thank you for having me.
First things first, 2 seasons, 2 national tournaments for you. What's been the key to continuing that success since taking over for former Coach McGraw back in 2022?
Well, I've been lucky enough to be a part of 2 of his national championships. The first one in 2006 as a student assistant, and then the most recent one in 2022 as his associate head coach. And, I think the biggest thing is that I'm not afraid to listen to someone who's had a lot more success than I have especially at this particular level. So, listening to him, and, I've been able to work for a lot of really good coaches. Patrick Nee, who's the head coach at Allen County right now. Coach Gillespie, Billy Gillespie, worked for him at Texas Tech and at Ranger. Joe Dooley when we were at Florida Gulf Coast, and Danny Manning when we were at Wake Forest. And so I've been able to learn from a lot of great guys and kind of take pieces from all of them and put it back into this program.
Yeah, that culture has continued there at North Lake with you at the helm. So 20 wins to close out the season. You earned this #1 seed. What's it been like for you trying to get your team to focus in game by game? Because I'm sure, as you know, a lot of teams will start to coast, especially with a win streak heading into the end of the regular season. So what have you been telling your guys as you start to close that season?
Absolutely. It's been a challenge for us, at the beginning of the year where, we're the hunters. We're trying to, knock off these scholarship teams, these really good scholarship teams. And it's difficult. We're not supposed to beat those guys. And then come around the second semester, and our conference is really, really tough. And all of our teams in our conference play similar schedules, and us not losing a game last year in conference, and then trying to do it again and keep it up. It's been difficult to keep these guys focused, but we had a couple tight games late, and what impressed me about our guys is that we were able to still come out on top even though the games got tight.
Well, one of the more prominent statistics about your squad is that shooting from behind the arc, 41% as a team. So not just one of the best in the NJCAA, but one of the best in the country as a whole. So does that make your job easier when you have a team that can confidently spot up from anywhere on the floor?
Well, absolutely. It helps take some pressure off and opens up some driving lanes. The players make, good players make it easy. Lucky to have a great staff to go out and help find and recruit these players. Lucky to have a understanding wife to let me go and take a lot of time, even when it's not basketball season, to recruit and find these guys. I mean, there's a lot of talent here in Texas, and we're just very fortunate to get some of the really good guys that kind of slip through the cracks.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Coach Mills. Is there anything you wanted to add, any final comments before we continue on in this selection show?
Yeah, you know what? We're really excited, really happy to be a part of it. I'm excited to go back, up to Herkimer and compete. We had an unfortunate end to the season last year. A couple of our guys were ill, and not to make any excuses or anything, but we have a few guys that are back this year, and they're hungry, and hopefully we can have a really competitive tournament. I know there's a lot of really good teams. I've heard this should be one of the best tournaments yet, so we're looking to go up there and have some fun and compete.
There you go. Redemption arc starts now. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you, and excited to see you up there in Herkimer.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations again to Josh Mills and his Blazers on the #1 overall seed in this tournament. Thanks again for joining us today. And we're going to take a quick break, have some NJCAA sponsors to look at. But on the other side, we reveal the rest of the tournament, the other 8 seeds in this bracket, as well as the rest of the at-large teams. Stay with us on the NJCAA Network.
Intensity fuels these champion student athletes to greatness. Zurich Insurance is proud to be the official provider of student athlete insurance for the National Junior College Athletic Association. Throughout the highs, we cheer along to their screams of victory. Throughout the lows, we support them through their tears of defeat. Zurich Insurance, helping student athletes play the sport they love.
I have a little birthday message for you from someone too.
I heard you really love basketball. You're a good shooter and a good dribbler. Happy birthday, MJ, and I hope you enjoy your day.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Welcome back to the NJCAA Network as we continue to reveal the 12 teams in this NJCAA Division III Men's Basketball National Championship to be played next week, Wednesday, March 13th through March 16th in Herkimer, New York. Let's go ahead and look at those top 4 seeds one more time. Dallas College Northlake, the 1 seed, Northern Essex, the 2. Herkimer is the 3rd seed in this tournament, and Montgomery County is the 4. All of those teams getting first-round byes. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the rest of the matchups in this tournament. Starting with the 8-9 matchup, the number 8 overall seed in this tournament is a no-doubter at large, Fulton Montgomery. 25-4 on the year, Fulton Montgomery won 17 games in a row before falling at Herkimer in the Region 3 final. A lot of experience in their starting 5. The Pirates have 5 players with 14 or more points a game. They will play the 9 seed in this tournament, and another at-large bid ranked number 12 in the last poll. It is Sandhills that will get the 9 seed. They jump up to grab that at-large bid after being the runner-up in last year's tournament. One of the top role players in that tournament was Aiden Gittens, and he's turned into the leading scorer for the Flyers, adding 16.9 points a game. That's the 8-9 matchup, the winner of that one to play the number 1 seed Dallas College Northlake. And we move along to the 4 seed matchup and the 5 and 12 in this tournament. And it is another at-large bid, and it is Brookdale and the Jersey Blues. No doubt that the Jersey Blues would get an at-large bid, falling 1 game short of a perfect season when they lost on that buzzer beater to Montco on Saturday. The defending national champs have the most lethal offense in D3, scoring 97.5 points a game, with 2 sophomore forwards leading the way, Manny Bell and Darnell Askew. Brookdale is the 5 seed. They drop after being number 1 in the last ranking. They'll play the number 12 seed in Hostos. The Caymans squad feels like it was made for tournament play. They are 22-9 on the year, but they are battle-tested with 17 single-digit games this year and several one-possession games, which were needed to navigate the CUNYAC and Region 15 tournaments. They make the national tournament for the first time since COVID cancellation, and the Caymans are definitely a scrappy team to look out for. They'll play Brookdale in the first round, and the winner of that one will go on to take on Montgomery County. We move along to the opposite side of the bracket, starting with the number 7 seed, Prince George's. The Owls return to the national championship with an automatic bid and will play with revenge on their mind after falling 5 points short in the opening round last season. The Mid-Atlantic District champs are led by Jasir Trimble, who is second in all of Division III with 98 three-pointers, and he's adding 23 total points a game for the Owls. They'll take on the number 10 seed, and our final at-large bid, it is Riverland. They'll get the 10 seed after 3 losses this year, and all of them were to ranked opponents. A talented team led by 2 sophomores that average 15 a game. Xavier McCall and Dwayne Thompson are the playmakers for Riverland. Winner of that matchup will take on the 2 seed Northern Essex, and we go to the final quadrant of the bracket, starting with that 3 seed Herkimer. They will play the winner of this matchup, starting with the 6 seed. It is Minnesota North Rainy River. Bill Engel has led the Voyagers to a phenomenal season, which concludes with an automatic bid to the national tournament. Rainy River lives behind the arc, making on average 10 three-pointers a game this season. They'll take on the 11 seed, and the final team in this tournament is Joliet. 17-15 this year. 1 point was the difference for the Wolves as they nailed some late free throws and stood tall on defense to win the Great Lakes District Championship 90-89 over ONCC. They make it back to the national tournament after falling short last year, and it marks the first time under Region 4 Coach of the Year, Danny Turner, that they will go to the tournament. So congratulations to the Wolves and to all the teams as we zoom out and take a look at the bracket as it is now complete. As we mentioned, the top 4 seeds in this one are Dallas College, Northlake, Northern Essex, Herkimer, and Montgomery County. You've got Fulton, Montgomery, and Sandhills in an at-large matchup of the 8 and 9. Brookdale and Hostos in the 5 and 12. Prince George's and Riverland, the 7 and 10. And then Minnesota North Rainy River, the 6 seed, against Joliet, the 11 seed. So that wraps up that aspect. Let's go ahead and take another quick break. And when we come back from that break, we will have the committee chair to talk about what went into these rankings and some important information for you to hear. Stay with us.
Intensity fuels these champion student athletes to greatness. Zurich Insurance is proud to be the official provider of student athlete insurance for the National Junior College Athletic Association. Throughout the highs, we cheer along to their screams of victory. Throughout the lows, we support them through their tears of defeat. Zurich Insurance, helping student athletes play the sport they love.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
Welcome back to the NJCAA Network. We have a very special guest now. It is our chair of the NJCAA Division III Men's Basketball Committee, Greg Whitkop. And Greg, we appreciate you taking the time today to come talk with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, first things first, Greg, I think the biggest thing that stands out about the teams selected is Brookdale, 26-0, lost at the buzzer in the regional championship to Montco, and they get the number 5 seed. So what went into the process, and talk us through how they came about getting that 5 overall seed?
Sure. So that was probably the longest conversation of our meeting. One of the things that was really challenging there was Montgomery was sitting on the number 5 line in the final poll. So when they met up in the regional championship game and Montgomery won by 2, it was a great game. The one thing that we had an issue with was among the top 4 teams besides Brookdale, none of them, we didn't really feel comfortable moving any of those teams out of the top 4. So, we had teams that won handily. Herkimer won handily. Montgomery, obviously at the 5 spot with the win, deserved to move up. So we debated that for a while. And one of the things as a committee you look to do is really create strong matchups. So the discussion was, how far can we really move Brookdale down while also being fair to the top seeds? So Northlake, the number 2 is Northern Essex. Is it fair to have them match up with Brookdale, which ultimately led to us going Montgomery 4, Brookdale 5.
I'm sure another hot topic of discussion was the other 2 at-larges. You got Sandhills at number 9 and Riverland at number 10. Sandhill jumping up to overtake Riverland. What went into that discussion?
So when we really started looking at the at-larges, the first 2 I thought were fairly easy, a consensus with the committee. There was much more debate when we got to 3, 4, and then what separated 3 and 4 from 5 and 6. We finally were able to come up with the 2 that we did select, Riverland and Sandhills, and they were very close. So again, when we talk about matchups, when we talk about what the criteria is, the one thing that really put Sandhills just a notch above Riverland was they play so many Division I and Division II games, 11 games against Division I and Division II. The quality of the Division II teams within Region 10, Sandhills had 7 wins there. So that just put them a notch above Riverland and what their schedule was during the season.
Yeah, Sandhills and Riverland closing out those at-large bids. The last question I had for you, Greg, was about the talent in this 12. What stands out to you about the 12 teams in this tournament? And do you think it's one of the more diverse talent-wise that we've had in recent years?
So I think the one thing that you see is there's just been a lot of great competition within the districts during the course of the year. One thing I always say on this call is we're not always comparing apples to apples. At the Division III level, there's not a lot of national travel. So we watch teams and we see what they do during the course of the year against the peers within their regions, within their districts. But then we try to put together and match teams up and create competitive games that everyone wants to see. Obviously, this year, the one challenge there was Montgomery and Brookdale. Outside of that, I think we have a lot of games against teams from across the country who never see each other. And when we were looking at who's the 8, who's the 9, who's the 10, got a lot of very good teams there. So, you know, the top 4 waiting for those winners for the second day, they're going to have some tough matchups ahead of them.
It's going to be a lot of fun for sure. Did you have any other final comments you wanted to add before we wrap up our selection show?
No, just appreciate the committee. A lot of great work done this year. A lot of good dialogue today and all year long. And we're looking forward to a great tournament at Herkimer.
It's going to be a lot of fun for sure. Some much watched talent out there. And we appreciate you, Greg, for hopping on with us today. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks again to Greg for standing in the line of fire and giving us some insight about what goes into those tournament selections and the at-large bids, as well as the seeding for everybody in the tournament. So thanks again. Congratulations to the committee and all the teams in this one. And we wrap up today by looking at this tournament as a whole one more time. The number 1 seed, Dallas College North Lake. Number 2, Northern Essex. Number 3, Herkimer. And number 4, Montgomery County. Again, all 4 of those teams a first-round bye into this tournament. They won't play until March the 14th. Everybody else starts on the 13th. Fulton Montgomery, the 8 and 9 seed, an at-large matchup against Sandhills. That's going to be a good one as they take on the 1 seed, the winner of that game. Brookdale, the 5, host the 12. They will play each other to take on Montgomery County. Then Prince George's and Riverland, the 7 and 10, a very even matchup there as well. And Rainy River and Joliet, the 6 and 11, to take on the host Herkimer. And that starts next Wednesday, March the 13th through the 16th in Herkimer, New York. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks again for everybody that tuned in today on the NJCAA Network. I'm Zach McKinstry. We appreciate you. Congratulations to all the teams. And it is going to be a lot of fun to see how that unfolds in Herkimer.